In this Grasshopper script, we have two files. One is cluster and the second one is example file, which is for those who want to know how to make it from scratch. But for the cluster, let me explain the inputs and how you can use it to design these fractal solids. So first of all, if I disconnect the first component, and let me show you the inputs. The first one is a fractal polyline, which we have used the flexibility plugin. So first you have to give it a polyline. As you can see here, if I change this polyline, the output is going to change too. So just simply draw up a closed polyline and give it to the inputs. As you can see here, I can change it. Okay, let's go back to our first polyline. As you can see here, there is a count. So 1, 2, 3, we can increase the count here. There's a side, we can invert the side. And there is a multiplication, which is the amplitude of the fractal. And there is also a quad triangular fractal, which you can use here. For the second part, polyline solid, it's really important that the number of count you give this for the fractal and the number of a gene pool you give to the height has to be the same. So if it's 3, we have to also produce 3, because if you increase this number of count, it's going to slow down the process. Remember to always disable this. You can just select it and middle mouse button and disable, and then turn this fractal on and change the number you want, but it's going to slow down the process. So anyway, I'm going to put the side out and then enable this so you can see what's happening here. Okay, first we have a top-down input. Remember to give the polylines you have here to this one and just put this true or false. Is going to change the direction. So let me explain what's going to happen here. The gene pool has to be the same as the count. You can put 0 for some of the polylines. So here we have, let me bake this so you can see the polylines here. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. Okay, so this is going to be the height for the first polyline here, the second one, which is going to stack on that, and the last one. Okay, as you can see here, you can change that. You can give 0 to any of these combinations. A good thing about this script is that you can combine any of these polylines you want with together. So for example, if I put all of them to 0, just add one extrusion to one of them, it's going to extrude that polyline. So if I just change that, this is also useful if you want to extrude one of the polylines. If you want to combine this one with this one, you just have to give the extrusion to those two polylines, and you can also change the direction with this toggle. So this is also useful if you want to change the direction. And if you give all of them an extrusion, this is going to be the height for this fractal. This is going to be the second one, and this is going to be the last one. So this is also useful if you want to work around and give the extrusion. Finally, you can bake the solid, and it's going to be a singular solid, which is really helpful if you want to convert that into a complete solid and maybe 3D printed or use it for a building. A good thing about this is that if we change the side inwards, you can see it's going to make it like a building. As you can see here, you can even design that for a series of buildings. Maybe these are the openings, the doors, and I can change the height for the top part. Maybe I want to increase the first part and give a little bit of a thickness at the top. So this is also useful if you want to do that. Remember that you can also increase the multiplication to bring it in, but just don't give it too much because it's going to collide with other openings. Anyway, you can also put that to a triangular, but I think the quad is better. Anyway, you can just combine any of these extrusion and design something like this. Just turn that off. So remember that the inverts is also useful if you want to design something like this. I've also put another example here, so let me just turn this on. And the reason I've put this example file is that if you give a number of counts and you want to give the same height for all of these polylines, there is a trick you can use. If you give the same number of counts to the count here, so for example it's 3, from the previous example you can see that the count doesn't have any input, so it's going to assume that these are the heights of the polylines we have here. But if you want to give the same height, just give the number of counts to the count here, and just changing this number is going to give the same height for all of these polylines. So for example, if I give this a 6, what's going to happen is that this is going to be extruded 6, this is going to be extruded 6, and this is also going to be extruded 6. So that's also useful if you want to give the same extrusion to all of these polylines. You can also use this component if you have designed a series of polylines without this fractal. So for example, if I just disconnect this and turn this off, and for example let's go to Rhino this time, and let's just draw a simple polyline. So I'm going to just draw a simple polyline here and make it like this. Okay, let's make a copy, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and bring the second curve, the corners a little bit inwards. So I'm going to say maybe I want to design something like this. Okay, and then again make a copy, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and I'm going to second the last one. Again, I'm going to maybe bring this one also inwards. Okay, I think we have to move this point a little bit back. Okay, and as you can see here, I've designed 3 polylines which are going to be used as the building. So what I want to do here is go to the params menu and pick up 3 polylines, set multiple curves, 1, 2, 3. Remember that the way you are choosing it is really important. I'm going to give it here, and let's turn this on. And this is going to be for the first polyline, the second, and the last one. Again, if you want to combine it, you can just give one number slider to each of them if you want to just see the extrusion. But if you want to combine 2, you can do that. If you want to change the direction, you can do that. And this tool is really useful if you want to just play around. So scale this down. Play around with a building, and this is really great because you can just change the polyline and get the outputs. So remember that you can use this polyline solid as a separate tool to design a solid, and finally you can just bake that if you want to get the final results. Okay, I hope this tool is useful. If you have any questions, just ask below this lesson, and see you next time. Bye.